Support for this week's episode of Still Untitled comes from Rackspace. Did you know Rackspace can help you guide your migration to Amazon Web Services? Rackspace support for AWS offers tooling and automation for account management, security, and best practices. Learn more at rackspace.com/yourcloud. Additional support for this week's episode is brought to you by Movement Watches. Started by two broke college kids that wanted to wear stylish watches but couldn't afford them, Movement was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. Movement watches of a classic design, quality construction, and styled minimalism that start at just $95. At a department store, you're looking at $400 to $500. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmtwatches.com/untitled. Again, that's movement, mvmtwatches.com/untitled. And now on with the show.
Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I am Will.
I am Adam.
And I am Norm.
I just said I am so I wouldn't clip there because I was getting louder and louder, and I knew a contraction would bring me up. That's pro podcasting.
Running your volume off at the pass.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
It feels like it's been a while.
We skipped last week. It was a little busy. Adam was traveling.
I've been traveling too much. Let's just say.
You just came back from traveling.
I know. I came back from 60 days on the road, which is what the total ended up being.
That's a lot of days on the road.
And then I was back for a week and a half, and then I left for TED. So that was 5 days in Vancouver. From TED to Boston to drive to Vermont for my kids' parents' weekend, back to Boston, then to Seattle for an appearance where I was interviewed on stage at UW by my friend John Roderick.
Oh, nice.
Which was fabulous. Then to Los Angeles with some business.
The business
in LA, and
As it
then
happens.
finally home. And when I finally got home, I'm still trying to get back into a rhythm.
Have the dogs ridden you off at this point? They're just like, what?
No.
You're
okay.
a part-time human.
No episodic
Full
memory.
memory wipe every time a
Yeah.
door closes.
Yeah. I did the thing this morning where I went out, I realized I'd forgotten my phone, and I turned around, opened the door, came back in. The dog was thrilled to see me 30 seconds after I
Oh
left.
my God, I thought you were never coming home.
Yeah.
I was over
Sense
here
of
licking my
time.
feet.
I want to hear about your experience at TED.
Is
It's
this
your
the Mark
second time,
Wahlberg?
right? Second
This
time
is
at
my
TED.
second time at
that
TED in
TED.
Vancouver. I had a wonderful time. I got to see some wonderful friends. Drew Curtis was there for the whole week. So was Sarah Parkek, who won the TED Prize last year as a space archaeologist. So I don't know if you know about her project, but they basically are using satellite data imagery and they're crowdsourcing the search for features that might lead to archaeological digs that no one knows about.
Oh, okay. So this isn't space archaeology of old satellites and stuff that are lingering in orbit.
Is using satellite imagery to do archaeology on Earth.
That's amazing.
So now there are some problems with this, right? Because if you find a place and looters know about it, they're going to go and loot it. So what they've done is they've sliced up whole chunks of Peru. I think it's Peru. It would be lame if I forgot. But
Spliced up meaning they've divvied up the imaging.
these basically like, I think 100-meter squares. So that it's impossible for you to know where this is on a map.
Right.
But you just get a random square and you look through it, and you have a set of duties to search that square, and you give it a rating.
And you're looking for like straight edges and circles and things that are more commonly found in man-made structures.
Exactly.
They found a giant old pyramid there, right?
There's all sorts of, basically after I think this is a several month trial, they have found something like 15,000 possible sites to look at.
It's also incredible to think about that this is information that we otherwise, with helicopters and planes, we've been flying over places forever, 100 years, would still not be able to identify. And it's not until we've had basically entire imaging coverage over the globe, refreshing on a daily basis, that this stuff is accessible.
So then what do they do? Like after they've
It's up to working with the local government and local archaeologists to go inspect these, to prioritize these sites. But as far as crowdsourcing that first pass, it was a resounding success.
Well, I mean, we've done other stuff like this too. When they were searching for the Malaysian airliner that went down in the Indian Ocean, there was a crowdsourced version of that, I believe, right?
I actually don't know about that.
Or maybe I made that up.
And I don't know if that data is refreshed. I mean, it could just be like, this is the data from last year.
Right.
And the imagery from last year. It's not like you're getting daily updates. But we all want to play that role of Mackenzie Davis' character in The Martian. We're just like tracking. Footprints were there and not there. Detective, guardian of a certain area.
So that was great to see, Sarah. I spent some time with Roman Mars.
Oh, he's always wonderful.
By the way, I had no idea that he does like 50 of those shows a year.
Yeah, and they never repeat on the pod. Like it's always new. Sometimes he brings in other shows and they kind of give it a little bit of a 99 PI twist.
So he did agree.
He did agree to come on our podcast.
We are talking about it.
Local, and
he's actually on tour right now. So Radiotopia is the company that distributes their collection of podcasts. 99% Invisible included is their flagship show. They have a stage show, The Illusionist, and they are, I think, in Portland yesterday, and they're going to be in San Francisco Thursday.
Oh man!
And he's based out of the Bay Area, but
right?
Yeah, we're definitely going to get him on the show.
We went to his house, saw his shop. The thing that shocked me about him more than anything else is when he's not on the radio, his voice is completely different.
He definitely has a radio voice when he wants to turn it on.
I'm kidding. But his normal voice is very. He's not. Yeah,
it's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same.
Zach Kaplan,
from Inventables.
Oh,
and
he's
I
one of my
spent some
favorite
time
people.
talking about their beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
I saw my friend Tony Fidel. It's like this is where you catch up with.
It's like camp.
Yeah, it is.
But much like a camp, you didn't do a talk this year.
I did not do a talk. I did a workshop. I actually did 2 of the same workshop.
So you were a counselor.
I was. I did a workshop on storytelling via spaceship detailing in the Star Wars style.
So last year when we talked about your post TED experience, we kind of ran through like how the people that make TED happen every year kind of are very hands-on and helped you workshop your talk, which is something that doesn't happen that often for you these days.
Yes.
And you worked. Did they do the same thing with the workshop? Were they hands-on?
No, this is a brand new thing.
Okay.
And it was in a separate part of the facility, but there was a bunch of workshops. I think 50 workshops over the week. There were my friend Ken Lacavera was showing dinosaur collagen pulled out of 100 million year old bones. Everything we've ever heard about there being no biological material left in dinosaur fossils, totally not true.
Really?
Thanks, Jurassic Park.
It turns out no one's actually gone looking.
Wow.
And
well, I mean, 60 million years, an impossibly long amount of time. It's a fair...
Yeah, it is a fair assumption.
Yeah.
Turns
All
out
the
that
amber.
it's a wrong one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Monica Lewinsky was there giving a workshop in internet shaming with John Ronson.
I don't know who John Ronson is.
John Ronson is the author of that book on internet shaming that came out last year. He also wrote The Psychopath Test.
This American Life contributor.
This American Life contributor.
Yeah.
It's very prolific. He did Stanley Kubrick's Archives as a short film.
Okay.
He's a friend, acquaintance, and we've corresponded in the past about some research. An amazing journalist and does deep dives, kind of like Louis Theroux, into weird areas to investigate. And because he'd written this book on internet shaming, Monica Lewinsky, who is a TED speaker, former TED speaker, so I saw her at the luncheon for TED speakers. She is like a warrior of bravery.
I can't imagine, like...
Nope. Can't imagine, right? Like no matter how bad your life has ever gotten, you have never endured what that person has endured, and she is like a delightfully sunnily disposed, intelligent human. I just found her, I was amazed by her. Her energy is terrific. And I wish that I could have gone to their seminar. I was doing mine at the same time. So I gave this workshop and we had 40 plus people for each of the 2 workshops where I brought in 120 model kits and we kit bashed them in 90 minutes so that everyone ended up with a spaceship.
That's so much
amazing.
fun.
It was really cool.
Did you build frames in advance, or did they pull everything out of?
They pulled everything out, and that was actually a
Wow.
little bit of the difficulty because, well, it was the difficulty and the wonder because people came up with such radically cool stuff. I think if I did this again, I would 3D print basic forms.
Okay.
And then I would talk about the detailing of those forms and what people could do and how different it could
Or
be.
vacuum form some generic bucks and generic
Exactly.
things, yeah.
Exactly.
So you're in. Like, I'm not going to ask you specifics about who showed up to your session, but like you're in with kind of movers and shakers. Did they sit down and did you have to like what was the process like with getting people started creating, or did they just jump right in and were ready to go?
They just jumped right in. It was a wonderfully interactive pair of workshops. I enjoyed the experience of leading it immensely. I was a little nervous up to it because I wasn't sure how it was going to go. You never know. And it was delightfully interactive.
And that's something that you don't get. I mean, from an outsider's perspective, watching TED, yes, they produce these great videos, and that's how the vast majority of people who see TED experience it on YouTube and their website. But it really feels one directional. Even for the people in the room, when you have the big amphitheater that they've built out, there's not a lot of interaction other than the applause.
Right.
Occasional mosquitoes.
Well, and I mean, but that's what TED is about, is walking around and seeing the people you've just seen speak and talking to them about how their talk inspired you. Can you help? Can I, I know about this thing. Do you know about this? That was really cool. I did not do my homework before this podcast, so I am not remembering some of the amazing talks, but I will when they publish. There were a few mind-bogglingly awesome talks.
So one of the things, it took me a long time to realize when you're at a conference like that, the thing you should be doing isn't necessarily sitting down, taking notes and memorizing everything that happens during the talk session, but actually going out and seeking out the people that are, that when you go to a conference, any scale conference, whether it's a big conference or a little conference or something like GDC or whatever, you have access to walk up to somebody that normally is inaccessible.
Yeah, you've been pre-filtered.
Yeah.
Like the Emmys parties.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you mean.
Fewer workaholics guys. But yeah, I mean, that's the gist.
Yeah.
And so you have an in because you have this shared thing together that you can go out and reach out and talk to these people.
Well, and TED facilitates this, by the way, that you get a book when you are an attendee, and the book has a page for every person who's speaking in the order that they're speaking in. Alphabetical order, but there's tons of blank space on every page.
Oh, cool.
For you to take
Scribble
notes
in. That's
about
awesome.
what you thought was interesting, and et cetera, et cetera.
That's really clever.
Richard Browning was there. Richard Browning is the, I just want to make sure I've got his number right. His,
Don't put his number in the podcast.
Yes, Richard Browning. For some reason, I was drawing a blank on his name earlier. Richard Browning had a video go fairly viral earlier this month of him with 2 jet engines on his arms and 2 on his...
I saw this.
He was at TED.
The Iron Man suit.
Yeah,
guy.
and he comes up to me and he says, "Mate, I'm a big fan. In fact, you kind of helped inspire me. My dad was an inventor and I wanted to carry on his legacy. And so I was an investment banker, but now I've built this suit that you can fly in. Hey, I'm doing a demo here. Could you be my ground crew?" And I'm like,
Wow, well, you don't have a ground crew?
I believe I'm the most qualified person here.
Probably with a couple of bullets.
And so, yeah, we did he gave a great talk about the iterative process of designing this, where it's been and where it's going to go. And then out on the terrace on the side of TED, he took off from the stage, flew, changed direction, and came back and landed. And it was pretty mind-blowing.
Was it as terrifying? Like that video I saw, because we've seen, people send us a lot of videos of people doing, let's say, differing levels of foolhardy stunts involving flying, from the guy that strapped the lawn chair onto a million drone engines and rotors, like all the way up to this. I mean, did this look as crazy as in person as it was in the video?
So these engines, it was astounding and super inspiring. It didn't feel like he was on the edge of disaster. He has an interesting mode of control, which is that the throttle on these is way too sensitive for you to be able to ride it with your hands. So he has them on full throttle, and lift is when he brings his arms in. Now he's an extreme sport exerciser, so he can do like push-ups in a handstand, and he needs all of that muscle.
Because you got to fight the centrifuges, right? And the jets, or don't the fans spin, or do they not spin?
The
that
fans spin, but the jets are only like this big, and they generate something like 900 watts.
Jesus,
it's insane.
So does he have a harness that locks his arms into position?
No, he does not. He's
purely
just
straight gun show.
Well, I mean, it's when they're close to his body that he's lifting up, so it's an ideal position.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was really, really amazing. And these engines, there's a lot of improvements that could be made. They're not meant to be run vertically like this, but the test went beautifully. All 6 engines started up on the first try, which he said had never happened before. That was stunning.
That's super cool.
That was one of the high points for me.
And that's a case of where the design of that and the dream of wanting to do that comes out of something purely fictional. It doesn't make any sense for you to build a suit to do that, except for that we saw Iron Man did that on the big screen.
And in a weird, the whole world comes around. I was led to understand that one of the inspirations for the whole workshopping of the jets sequence in Iron Man was at Mythbusters.
Wow. I mean, I can totally say it makes sense, right? Like that is very much a one maniac in his garage assembling some stuff that shouldn't exist, and then all of a sudden he shoots through the ceiling.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
So Ted was phenomenal. It's always really inspiring. It's almost overwhelming. It's less overwhelming when you're not speaking on the main stage. That certainly is.
I assume you're able to have a little bit more fun and kind of
absolutely
get out a little bit more.
So you're kind of like the Olympics. The people who finish early just have the whole week off.
Exactly.
And you don't want to be the last speaker at TED.
No. And then I was, like I said, I was in Seattle. I was in LA. Seattle was beautiful. The crowd at UW was fabulous. And it was loved. There's like, oh, so you want to be interviewed by someone on stage? How about a local celebrity we have named John Roderick? And I'm like, yeah, Roderick would be great.
That's fine.
And a local almost politician.
Yes. He ran for a city council member last year. It's been fascinating. I spent a lot of time talking to him about that and talking to Drew Curtis about having run for governor of Kentucky.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. I mean, it just convinces me I don't ever want to go into politics, but it's amazing to me.
Well, so before I started going down med school path, I went and interned a couple of summers on Capitol Hill at the House of
I didn't know that.
in my congressman's office. And that experience was enough to convince me that I wanted literally nothing to do with the.
And that's not even.
That was 25 years ago. Yeah. It was in 1993 and 94.
And that's not even the public facing part of that.
Well, so
industry.
Your job as an intern at a House member's office is actually public facing. Like you are the one that you answer the phone call, you answer the emails, you log everything.
There's something on my lawn.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's almost all at the time. It was almost all Social Security and VA claims and stuff like that. It was super sad stories.
Yeah,
and then we got to take constituents on tours when they showed up, and that's the thing that depending on the size of your district, most people can do. If you want to see a little bit more about how stuff works, rather than just go sit in the balcony at the House or the Senate. You can make an appointment with your congressman's office way in advance, and they'll say, "Okay, come on Thursday at 2:00," and then somebody will take you around on a tour, and it's some college kid probably.
While I was in Vermont, my son and I went to a movie theater, and there was only 2 things playing at the moment we were there: Fast 8 and this movie we had no idea about called Free Fire.
Why would you not see Fast 8?
That's a good question. I can stand by. I also ask Adam. Why would you not see
when you
Fast
have the
8?
opportunity to see Fast 8 or
and
anything
the excuse
else
of your watching with your son?
It's
your
the greatest movie franchise of our time.
Really? Here's where I'm going to admit I have not seen any of the Fast and Furious movies.
It's a Star Wars for millennials. I'm going to put it out there. Star Wars for millennials.
Okay.
Those movies are self-aware action movies in the same way that John Wick is a self-aware action movie.
I got that. I tried to watch one of the recent ones with Jason Statham fighting The Rock, and I found it did not tickle my ivories.
If the idea of The Rock getting up out of a hospital bed saying, "Daddy's got to go to work," and then to his daughter, and then flexing a cast off of his arm doesn't make you want to see this movie, I don't think I can help you.
So I went and saw this movie called Free Fire that stars Brie Larson, Charlton Copley, Armie Hammer, Cillian Murphy, a fantastic cast.
Yeah.
This is a it's effectively Reservoir Dogs in that it is a shootout that takes place in a single room. It's a 2-hour movie that takes place in one location, and it is riveting, hilarious, super gory.
Period piece.
It's from the 70s. Yeah.
Oh man, I'll totally go see that.
This is totally amazing. John Denver's music makes an appearance.
Wait a minute, whoa.
It makes an appearance in the film that is totally epic.
See, does he take the place of Steelers Wheels?
I'm not going to give anything away. Just the moment
Okay.
the John Denver song shows up, and it shows up early in the film, and then it shows up later. You'll know what I mean. This movie, I enjoyed the spit out of it. I had so much fun. Everyone in it is phenomenal.
And it's Firefall?
Free fire. Yeah, it's the setup is a deal going wrong, right? In a warehouse, and all the guns come out, and all the guns go blazing, and everyone's trying to survive.
So apparently, this is inspired by at some point in the past, like the late 70s, early 80s, the IRA did come to New York to buy guns illegally and shipped them back on the QE2.
Well, I mean, look, if you're gonna do gun smuggling, why do it on some shitty
right. So that was their takeoff. So this is, you're not even sure where you are in the world, except you've got some IRA and some guys from like Brooklyn and New York, and Army Hammer's former Special Forces guy.
He's underrated.
He is
Armie
really
Hammer's
underrated, and he's given everyone's chewing the scenery in this. Most effectively, Charlton Copley.
Yeah,
who's
he's
like just complete and utter nutter in this film.
He's done in kind of a lot of films. He did that film Hardcore Henry.
I didn't see
that movie. That's not a good movie.
Well, it's an interesting experiment. So it was actually the director of it, Russian director, made famous by this YouTube video, quote unquote single take YouTube video where it's special effects heavy, but from a GoPro perspective, like basically John Wick, but from first person perspective.
First person. Yeah.
So this movie, Hardcore Henry, is entirely from a GoPro cam. That's Sharple Copley's character.
Oh,
or no, not he's another character in it, but he appears multiple times and crazy like science fiction shoot 'em up.
It's a really neat experimental film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it is. I found it really hard to watch.
Yeah, there are parts that are very hard to watch. Or that film Shoot 'em Up. Have you seen the Clive Owen film?
Yeah. That's not a good movie.
JV.
I mean, it's
Sin
very
City.
enjoyable, but it's not good.
Yeah.
That's the one where, he like slides a baby across and shoots.
Yeah. He stabs people with carrots.
Sometimes you have to fight and there are babies around, Adam. I mean, it happens. It's a real thing that happens in cinema today.
It's the second weirdest baby in danger scene I've ever seen. The weirdest is Freddy Got Fingered.
I don't think I ever saw that.
I've wanted to do a bad movie podcast for a long time. I know I kept bringing it up. I didn't think this was how it was going to happen, guys.
Freddy Got Fingered, speaking of self-aware movies, is so weird. You cannot believe anyone signed a single check for this. And at some point, late in the film, like in the third act of the film, the characters arrive.
The Tom Green movie, right?
This is Tom Green and Rip Torn. Right.
Rip Torn, like post Gary Shandling Rip Torn.
And there's this moment in which they arrive on a plane in this tarmac, and this small crowd is like greeting them, and it's like they don't have a big enough budget for a big crowd, and someone in the crowd is holding up a sign that says, "When the fuck is this movie gonna end?"
Oh my god. People don't understand that was when Tom Green was like an it.
There was a moment.
Character, personality.
I have to give it to him because it's like if you have your moment and someone's going to give you a few $1 million to make a movie, he made, without a doubt, precisely the movie he wanted to make.
It's like Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. It's the same kind of thing, right? Like, have you seen that?
No.
Oh, you should watch. You'd like that. It's Tim Heidecker and Eric, but Schmidt, not Schmidt, Eric somebody. But they made a. It's a high concept, self-aware comedy like that they. Yeah,
and I appreciate those. Freddy Got Fingered is it's not very watchable.
I have that on DVD.
It's totally surreal.
Not very watchable. DVD quote. Yes, Netflix quote. And then so that's you've watched that. You watched Free Fire?
I watched Free Fire.
And neither of you have seen Guardians of the
Galaxy.
No,
I'm going to go see Guardians maybe a matinee.
Did either of you see Pretty Little Lies? The HBO thing?
No, my wife did.
Okay.
She enjoyed it a lot.
It was really interesting. It was really good. Like I was really pleasantly surprised by it. It wasn't at all what I was expecting. And it was super duper well done and a ton of really good performances.
I rolled up my sleeves and enjoyed 2 episodes of the season 6 of Veep last night.
Oh
yes.
yeah, that's
I just love that show.
it's like the end of season 5. So Gina and I stopped when we got to the election last year. We kind of ran out of steam on extra presidential stuff.
Yeah.
And picked it back up a couple weeks ago, and it's a little too real in a lot of ways now.
No, House of Cards is the one that
I
I feel
can't
like
even
is
imagine
too
House of
real.
Cards, yeah.
This is such
one,
much of a farce.
Veep is. I got to meet most of the cast at South by. They were coming out as I was coming in, and I took pictures of them, and it was.
Yeah, we all saw them.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah, super
It
jealous.
was amazing because I love those folks, and I'm starting to realize that that I've been saying for the longest time, Veep is a show in which there are no redeeming characters. Everyone is terrible. But there's a way in which Dan and Amy are kind of actually good people doing bad things. Like
they know it's bad.
they actually
and that's
know it's
redemptive.
bad. And
yeah.
they're intelligent. And they're like almost romance is the sort of central tragedy of the show.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Jonah Ryan, it's evil to the core. It's also a show where every character, every secondary, third character can be a favorite character for someone.
Yeah, it's
Because they're all so well.
They're-
written.
well,
incredible.
And like I would love to see them. Not that they should do this since they only do like 8 episodes at a time or whatever, but to do like single episode tracks where they follow one of the supporting characters through.
Right.
Like, those are always my
Splet's
favorite.
character,
Yeah.
Splet's episode.
splits.
So I've been driving back and forth to LA a fair amount lately, and I've listened to a ton of podcasts as a result of that. And my favorite that I've hit is something that I was introduced to, I think, by 99PI.
Yeah.
But it's Alexis Madrigal's Containers podcast. It's only like 6 or 8 episodes, and it explains how the invention of the modern shipping container
God.
reshaped global.
Oh, yeah. It's totally amazing.
It is incredible. Like I thought I knew a lot about that.
I totally want to hear this.
It is astounding.
Wow.
Yeah. So like if you don't know, the shipping containers that we see everywhere now and you can get for like $1,500 or something now.
Yeah.
Were invented in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And the shift from there is what happened from the shift of the time that like you think about Indiana Jones when he's on a boat and it's like a boat and there's a hold and there's a crane and there's some
Crates.
bananas and there's some
tons of crates.
Ark
All
of the
different
Covenant.
sizes.
And it used to take 2 weeks to empty one of those boats, and now it takes a matter of hours.
6 hours or something for
And
enormous
people
ones.
can buy certain space inside. And that model is exactly what companies like Planetary Resources and what NASA has used to make sending things into space and building space infrastructure and privatizing companies' operations
they
in space.
packetized it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Possible.
I was I did this. Well, we put these up on the website. I did some shoots for GE covering some of their facilities around the world, and we were at the LA, the Long Beach, the Long Beach. What do you call that?
Shipyard?
Shipyard.
It's the #1 shipyard in the West Coast.
It's unbelievable. And
Yeah.
we were there watching a container ship being unloaded. And so there's up to 7 cranes can handle a single ship. And they're just, every time a crane pulls down, a truck pulls up, drops the container on it, and it takes off. And it's this ballet. I could not believe, I'd never seen it up close. I've always been across the water when we're shooting on Alameda.
Oh, yeah.
But here we're watching it happening right there. And the coordination is incredible.
Oh, and they do it every day, all day long.
Cans.
Yeah.
And it's what makes millions and millions of it makes everything that we live with pretty much today possible. It's an amazing.
Okay,
so it's
I'm totally
containers.
gonna listen to that.
I think it's on Fusion Network, but you can find it on iTunes or wherever you find podcasts. So
That's fabulous.
highly recommend.
So by the time we meet next, we should have a Guardians of the Galaxy spoiler cast.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I can make that happen.
But the last thing, have you guys watched the Blade Runner 2049 trailer?
No, I've decided I'm going cold into Blade Runner.
Oh, okay.
I am. Look, after I saw Sicario and Arrival, and like I'll go on that
You're
ride.
in.
Yeah, I'm going to spend my $12, $25, whatever, $36. What does it cost to go to the movies now? $1 million? Like, plus popcorn,
Yes.
$1 million
Yes, well,
at $8.
I'll
in
take your $1
Zimbabwe,
million
it's
and
$1
build you a
million.
theater.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Well, the trailer's out. Adam.
We just watched it.
Is it good?
It's good.
Okay.
I mean, the trailer's
I think
great.
that's all we can say.
I'm good.
Trailer
trailer's
sounds
good.
great. Looks
Yeah.
great. It's very exciting.
It's Wonder Woman's out soon too. I saw a final trailer hit
I
for
saw
that
the
the
final
other day.
trailer last night.
And
That's
like-
one in which I'm so excited about that movie.
Yeah.
I
June
said
2nd.
something positive about that the other day, and a friend of mine was like, go back and watch the Batman versus Superman final trailer again. I was like, you are a bad person.
They're different directors. It's different directors.
I know. I'm just, the point is they have a history in that.
Right.
I'm into that movie. I want to see that too.
Me too.
Yeah, I think without spoiling, because I know people are going to be sensitive to plot elements, visually, the Blade and audio-wise, the Blade Runner trailer really captures everything you felt watching the original Blade Runner movie.
And it's I would recommend you watch it with some good headphones in
Mhm,
because that sound has been meticulously designed, and the shots, Roger Deakins and Denis Villeneuve have constructed a visual language, at least from the trailer standpoint, that is both an homage and a callback to the original film, and yet an updating and a complete reimagining of the way to tell this story. It's really, I'm super
Well, in the
excited.
same way that Force Awakens did for Star Wars and Rogue One, especially with the lighting, and this feels like a film that is in that world without being just informed by that world.
Exactly.
Without making karaoke, right? Like
Yes,
like when
yes.
people make a bad remake, then you make it's the original franchise karaoke.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Is an Aliens comes out soon
Aliens
too, right?
comes out in a
does.
couple days.
Yeah, 19th.
And
Yeah,
next week. Okay.
Yes.
A week or so.
Okay.
Yes. Aliens Covenant.
This is
I know.
does
There's
it
a
feel
lot
stacked?
happening this year.
Right, like
We're in May.
games, movies.
Yeah.
It's all like there's more competition
TV,
in parts
American
of parts.
Gods.
Have you seen American Gods
I
yet?
have to get
I
on
haven't
that.
seen
There's
that
only
yet.
2 episodes, so,
Okay.
so we're still.
I know,
and
but I said, like, if I get like 5 behind, I'm like, why start now?
Hand-
I think
Handmaid's
Handmaid's Tale is
Tale.
like 6 episodes deep now, or 8 episodes deep, or
And
something.
then there's
Four,
Veep,
yeah.
and there's Better Call Saul. There's a
And
lot of
New
work
Silicon
to do,
Valley.
people.
I know.
Right.
Silicon Valley, what's that? I'm kidding. I have to go to the dentist now.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I'm sorry.
One last plug. Our friend Andy Weir just announced his new book.
Ooh.
It's coming out end of this year. It's called Artemis, and maybe we should get him sometime on the podcast to talk about it.
Absolutely. I saw Andy at Silicon Valley Comic Con.
Yeah.
He was hanging out at at one of the parties.
Always a delight.
His
A
book is
delight.
going to be about a colony on the moon.
Cool. Oh, so interesting.
I know.
Okay.
I already knew that.
Okay. That'll do it for us this week. Adam, enjoy your dentist visit.
Thank you. I have an amazing dentist. I've gone to dinner with my dentist. She calls me her supervised neglect patient.
Wow.
Gee,
That's not a good thing.
Next week we'll have a spoiler cast for your visit to the dentist.
My dentist is awesome. I have the best dentist ever.
My dentist introduced me to my wife.
Oh,
Well,
that's actually a really tough one to beat.
Yeah.
All right. So I have the second best dentist
I mean, look,
ever.
we don't go to dinner as often as we used to, though. So, Norm, what's on the site? Anything exciting?
Yes. Speaking of Alien Covenant, we have more of our set visit to the set of Alien Covenant going up this week's episode. All I can say is spacesuits.
Did you put on an alien suit, Norm?
I did not get to put on an alien
Oh.
suit, but all I can say
somebody
is
might have.
spacesuits.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You'll find that on the site tomorrow.
Okay. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Once again, Still Untitled is brought to you this week by Rackspace. Rackspace support for Amazon Web Services offers tooling and automation for account management, security, and best practices. Control your costs and relax knowing Rackspace will monitor your AWS 24/7. Learn more at rackspace.com/yourcloud. We'll see you next week.